We're looking at the setup for the website right now. You guys can definitely let us know your comments down below as well. Whether or not you see this or not, definitely let us know. But so this is basically a setup. So it's the news, the music, the playlists, the shows. Maybe shows turn into an event. Um,
Events. Yeah, and there needs to
Playlists
be
and
local
music are
artists.
basically the same thing.
Yeah, we can have them edit the tabs. So news.
News, and then I would say media, where like media would be the video work, the you know more of the visual type stuff. So news would be your guys' news. The media would be kind of the videos, the visuals, the podcast, right? And then the music would be rising artists, right? Um, that we're working with, like YP, Starship.
I think it's news. I think it's beats. The selling of beats. I think it's music, free music that's popped up on SoundCloud by major artists. I think it's local artists. I think it's playlists.
Yeah,
I think it's events. Um, but I think in the local artists, the whole point of us, being able to look up these local artists that we support, uh, is being able to see where they're performing, so you can go support those artists.
yeah, because I think that this is one of the big things that I learned from doing a lot of this groundwork is that the majority of people that are coming to these events are in the industry themselves. There are hardly any fans in Cincinnati.
It's hard to gather up enough of a fan base in a certain location before you're really popping. So I mean, if there's any way of and that's because most of the time it's not done right, and
Unorganized,
it's not, yeah, it's
unorganized.
very unorganized until you're signed, or until you got like a company or somebody behind you. So being able to have a reliable spot where if you have your information on a page, you can easily reach out to us and have your information
Yeah,
updated. So wherever you're going, wherever you're going to be, it'll be on the page, and you can feel comfortable with that. And we'll also be supporting all the largest bunch of news, so you won't feel like the page is just being looked over because it's only about the local artists. It's more about the hip hop industry as a whole, as a culture of the
sure.
whole entire thing.
And whether or not it's our events or it's your own events, we're not going to discriminate. We're going to promote, whatever you've got going on.
Well, whatever event that College Beats is involved in, whether it's our event or if we're just helping it or we're sponsoring it, whatever, then obviously we're gonna put it on the
Oh,
page.
so what do you think about like a
Just
promotion tab as well, like for that info? Because I know there's a lot of artists. You know,
I
um,
think I think I think that should be in the contact us area. Because if you're looking for promotion, is that what you're kind of getting at?
yeah, because I mean, would we only want to promote people that we're actually
We
proud in? I mean, that's something for you to talk about. Like,
Well, that is something where local artists is going to kind of come into play, of where we have the kind of local artist tab, and figuring out how we're going to break that down a little more, whether it's going to be a homepage there, and then you can go on to actually looking at the local artists. So what I'm saying, not just clicking local artists and giving you a list, but giving a homepage to represent the best of the best, the ones we really support, or you can look at the rest. So
mm,
you know
okay, so
that
you'd be open minded to taking people from the DMs or
I would be,
from
yeah,
other cities and
I would,
stuff.
well, I think there has to be some level of standard, obviously. I mean, you want to give people purpose to actually looking at your
Oh
page. So
yeah,
if they're taking the
for
time to
sure,
actually
for sure.
listen, it's all shit. That sucks.
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that to anybody. Anybody who has that experience, you don't want that. So the goal is definitely, I mean, but you can't promote everybody. Everybody's not the best. So, I mean, there's certain artists that are going to rise above the others, and we're going to help support, but figuring out whether that's, I don't think money's going to kind of run the game for us. I think it's going to be some kind of flat rate, and we'll support who we believe in most, kind
Sure.
of thing.
And that's also what I try to explain to these artists, that it's one thing, whether or not you're good or you've got money, but if you don't actually have a brand behind you, that can really hurt your chances to working with a company as well, because what are we going to benefit out of promoting somebody that you know cannot convert on those followers? And I think that's something else that we may want to help people out, like whether or not we link them up with True Viz, or I do some more low key designing. But what's your thought process about branding and how important it is to that rising artist?
I think it's 100% important, just like any other way of getting yourself out there. The recognition, branding is recognition, is super key. So, I mean, obviously that's important. I don't necessarily think that's something that we're gonna be able to directly help
Yeah,
them with as
yeah.
much as you'd like to. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you'd love to stretch. I know you'd love to stretch yourself as thin
Yeah.
as you can to help yourself with that. But I think there's a lot of other ways we could help people to help people who are designated as a manager and who are trying to help artists out there get connected and like look for more artists to, back behind. So I think being able to provide that and more content, so we can be more of a space, more of a help for those upcoming artists. So like when we do run into somebody who is doing better, who we do respect and they're unsigned, we can, say, hey, this is a manager, we're friends with these
Okay.
people who we represent. Because
So
I
you're
think
thinking kind of
anybody
come
who's
with heat already, rather than
anybody who's paying for the service, paying to be on our part of our page, I think that comes with an ability to be able to converse with us. At least having contact information in our word that we're going to get back to you within 24 hours.
Yeah, and how would you suggest people contact us? Like IG through the
Email.
DMs?
Email. I think email is the most in email in a professional manner. I mean, I think that's going to be the best way possible. And I think the artists that really understand what it means to get to the next point understand in being able to have professional emails. And I don't mean, super drawn out emails, not intro paragraph,
would
but being able to
suggest the artist to contact us or their management to contact us?
well, they might not
if
have
they-
management, so you gotta kind of expect both sides. You're gonna have some artists that are obviously managed by people and really managed, where the manager does their day to day planning, or you're gonna run into artists who don't have any management, or you're gonna run into artists who have management but the manager is way busy and
Yeah.
they're not necessarily helping them out tons and tons. So they're for the most part they're free artists. So
And I guess besides management, like what have you noticed about a lot of just DM artists in general? Like whether or not, they're trying to share their music, like what kind of recommendation would you have that if you are going to send us a DM or if you are going to send us an email, keep it short, include a press release, don't, send 50,000 links.
of course, never send 50,000 links, but
Yeah.
you just keep it. Yeah, I would never send something too long. I'd keep it brief, but always be super nice. Just the same way we do to anybody else we reach out to. Is just sending them something nice and genuine and saying, "Hey, I'd love you to listen to this track," because genuinely, when someone doesn't, hey, neat, listen to this, they're barking at me rather than, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you took the time to listen to this. I always go and listen to those people's music.
Yeah.
Since the last 4 years since I've been, running the page, I've always gone and listened to people's music because that's my job. I'm happy people are asking me, but at the same time, you're not gonna. Nobody likes to be yelled at for no reason when most of the time the artists that I listen to, 9 out of 10 times, I'm gonna turn off the song about 20 seconds, 30 seconds in and say this is shit.
Or like spam too, where it's just like, copy and paste type,
Yeah. I mean, it's a
messages.
flood out there.
Yeah, do you like immediately not even go to somebody's link if it looks like a copy and paste job?
Well, I don't necessarily know what you mean by that because
Like-
if I just asked for the
Like if you
SoundCloud
can,
link.
sure, but like if just random, bot type accounts or, sending you some paragraph with a link that just
Oh, yeah.
looks manufactured.
Yeah, I mean,
do you
if
even
it's
click that?
no, if it's not a SoundCloud link, a legitimate SoundCloud link, I would
Okay.
never go to it because that's how you get hacked.
Yeah.
So
And
we
I
wanna
guess
avoid
maybe
that.
that's like another big question. What type of medium should they be sending you this music on? SoundCloud?
Well, you can't. I guess you can directly message each other on SoundCloud, but the only way we can see it is if we're on a computer, and quite frankly, I'm on my phone way more than my computer. So the best way is definitely Twitter, Instagram. Instagram is where we're really live right now. So Instagram, you don't need to be anything but following a person to send them a message. We don't need to be friends. I don't need to be following you back. So, you can reach out really easily. And to anyone's disbelief, DMs are pretty red, until you have like 1 million followers, or something like that. So people see what you send
and
them.
even like my inspiration, Adam22 with No Jumper, to give him a big shout out, during our first host chat here that he even DM'd me back, and well over, 1 million followers, right? Where, one of the big subjects that I kind of brought to your guys' attention to start approaching these local artists is the issue with copyrighted material, and that to be able to develop a following on SoundCloud with, our own content, right? And that's one thing that Adam from No Jumper mentioned was that, that's silly, to post stuff that you don't own. Because in a lot of cases, your page that you work so hard on, whether or not you're an artist or, you're a company, gets, suspended. And in a lot of cases, you're going to get it back. But in most cases, you may not.
Right.
And I know that this is what I recommended, when me and YP were talking, that he uses a lot of, beats off of YouTube, for example, right? And that's trouble. So what I'm thinking is if we create an alternative, YP repost page where, we could post all of those YouTube copyrighted beats and then repost them on YP's main page, so then he wouldn't get stung on them. So that's
if that's the way he wants to stick with is the YouTube beats rather than purchasing them.
Yeah.
But
well, we're not ready. We have not yet got to that point.